Welcome back to the Jake Asman Show on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Need a mortgage that fits your life? Rocket can.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Jake Asman.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices. Every day we continue here on a Tuesday morning. Good to be on with you. 800-224-2004 is our number. If you want to get involved, you can find me on Twitter at Jake Asman. That's JakeAsman. You could tweet me there. You also could write in if you're watching the live chat on Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope. Let's talk Philadelphia Eagles. So we know the Dak Prescott Dallas Cowboys situation is resolved. The Cowboys have their quarterback going forward. But if you stay in the same division, the Eagles right now, they have Jalen Hurts on their team. They used a second-round pick on the guy in last year's draft. We know they traded away Carson Wentz. So all signs point to Jalen Hurts being the guy in Philadelphia. Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie, according to sources, has told the team to do everything in their power to not create competition at that position, but to build around Hurts and prioritize making him successful in 2021. And when I hear that coming from the owner and not from the general manager, not from the coach, that concerns me if I'm an Eagles fan. I don't think you ever want your football team to be run by an owner that doesn't exactly have a football background. Because, if you look back in NFL history, teams that are run by the owner making decisions usually doesn't work out too well. See the football team with Dan Snyder. See the Cowboys in the last 20-something years with Jerry Jones. See the Raiders with Al Davis. All of them just did wonders with their respective teams. So when you hear Jeffrey Lurie getting involved here, that would concern me because we heard so much about the fact that he was involved and the reason why Wentz is out of town, and we heard how he was involved in the Doug Peterson fiasco. So this would concern me if I'm an Eagles fan. Not saying you don't want to at least see what you have in Hurts. You used a second-round pick on the guy. But you mean to tell me if someone inside the Eagles organization, their general manager, Howie Roseman, or their coaching staff really like one of these quarterbacks coming out, you can't consider taking somebody 6th overall? Like, I get it. In a perfect world, you believe in Jalen Hurts, and you go draft them Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase if he somehow falls to 6th overall, or Kyle Pitts. In a perfect world, I get it. You add one of those guys and help out your young rookie quarterback going into his second year. But what if you like one of these quarterbacks? What if you're not sold on Jalen Hurts being your guy? I mean, Hurts was okay last year in 4 games, 52% completion rate, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks, ran for 3 touchdowns. He wasn't bad. He honestly got robbed of showing us something in a primetime spot in that last game against the football team in week 17. But man, I don't like it when your owner's getting involved. I think you got to let the football people make the football decision. So if Howie Roseman likes Trey Lance and thinks Trey Lance is going to be great, or believes in Mac Jones, or if Justin Fields falls to 6, he's not allowed to take that guy because the owner is saying, do not draft the quarterback, build around Jalen Hurts. What if Jalen Hurts is not very good? See, a couple of years ago, remember when the football team, or at the time the R words, if we're going to call whatever we're calling the Washington team, remember when they loved, remember when they did not want Dwayne Haskins? But one person in that organization wanted Haskins and insisted that the football team take Haskins. That was Daniel Snyder. How's that working out? Haskins is a bust. You wasted a 1st-round pick on the guy. Be careful allowing your owner to make decisions. And the problem is you can't fire your owner. But if you're the Eagles, if you're Howie Roseman, you basically have your job because you were able to win the power struggle between you and Doug Peterson, and you have the better relationship with ownership. So that would concern me if I'm the Eagles. I would be very concerned about the idea of like the owner coming in and saying, build around this quarterback. Well, what if the coaching staff that didn't draft him doesn't want him? What if Howie Roseman's like, yeah, I know I took him in the 2nd round a year ago, but I'm not sold on the guy. I don't know if I want him. There's a huge risk involved there. because no matter what the Eagles do, they're always going to be compared, or Hurts, I should say, is always going to be compared to the quarterbacks they could have had with that 6th overall pick. I mean, you basically tanked the last game of the season to put yourself in a position where you had that 6th overall pick. So if you look at your own division, the Giants with Daniel Jones, we'll see what he is going into his 3rd year. Right now, Washington doesn't have its quarterback situation figured out. The Cowboys finally paid Dak, and they're set up there to have the best quarterback in the division going forward. You mean to tell me if you're the Eagles and you like a quarterback at 6 because your owner wants you to build around Jalen Hurts, you can't take someone there? That to me makes no sense and is a huge, huge risk. 800-224-2004 is the number if you want to get involved. A lot to get to here. I mentioned Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was on Adam Schefter's podcast yesterday, and this was Jalen Hurts when asked by Adam about basically now being the new quarterback in charge in Philadelphia.
Nothing changes for me in my mindset. Going in every day, trying to get better as a player, be the best leader I can be, impact the guys around me, and ultimately, it's just about winning football games and being consistent in doing that. So my mentality, it doesn't alter not one bit.
So that's Jalen Hurts saying, my mentality doesn't change. Well, the reality is, doesn't competition also bring out the best in someone? So I come from the school of thought that until you have your true franchise quarterback, you should do whatever it takes to keep drafting guys and bringing in different quarterbacks until you hit on somebody. Like, look at the Cowboys. They didn't know when they took Dak in the 4th round he'd be their guy. They still had Tony Romo. They still had Mark Sanchez as Romo's backup. Dak was a 3rd-string dude. Russell Wilson, mid-round pick. Seattle didn't know what they had with Russell Wilson. They had just paid Matt Flynn after he had a great week 17 with the Packers. So my point is, keep taking quarterbacks until you're sure you have your guy. There is no way the Eagles are sure that they know that Jalen Hurts is their guy after they saw him play 4 games. There's no way. So when the owner comes out and says, build around Jalen Hurts, well, okay, you better hope Mac Jones is not great. You better hope Justin Fields is not a stud or Trey Lance is not a stud. All guys you likely could have had with that 6th overall pick. A pick that you have because you tanked Sunday Night Football in week 17. So when I hear that, that concerns me. 800-224-2004. Let's bring Ron Cover into the conversation this morning. Ron, your reaction to both the Dak contract situation, finally getting paid, and then Jeffrey Lurie in the same division saying, hey, Jalen Hurts is our guy, and don't even look at any other quarterbacks. Howie Roseman.
Well, the first thing that struck my mind when I saw that Dak got paid, I thought to myself, we wouldn't be having this conversation if Andy Dalton found any way to go 10-6 last season. There's no way Dak would have gotten any money had the Cowboys made the playoffs, shown promise to make the playoffs. This all rests on the fact that, the Cowboys looked at it and says, you know what? It was a winnable division last year. You had one team that was out there superstar player and a quarterback they can't trust. You had another team that had a quarterback controversy, which we'll get to in a second, and another quarterback that led a team literally back from the dead. I mean, those were your division rivals last year, and the Cowboys couldn't make it into the playoffs, and that's why Dak Prescott is now, a very wealthy man.
Dak bet on himself. He had the perfect leverage with the cap going down and a $37 million cap hit that is just extraordinarily high.
Yep.
So,
and all he needed was his team to underperform. And I mean, I'm not going to say that Ezekiel Elliott, who had a horrific season last year, I know because he was on my fantasy team. I'm not saying that he tanked, but, it does look like people were in his camp all along. And it just proves that, Andy Dalton is got to put out to pasture now.
The best thing to happen to Dak is that people saw his value when he wasn't out there. You never want to see a guy get hurt, but I think it just emphasized to the Cowboys the need to pay him.
No, I mean, he got that payday on crutches.
Yeah. And the craziest thing, too, it reminded me of what happened when Peyton Manning missed that year in Indy. And then the Colts went from a Super Bowl team to a team that had the 1st overall pick.
Yeah.
Like, you can make a case. That alone just showed you how valuable Peyton Manning is. It's the same thing when LeBron left the Cleveland Cavaliers, when they went from, this championship team to a, 1st overall pick in the lottery team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, guys' values are shown when they're not there.
Yeah.
And Dak, the one thing you could always say for the guy up until this year is that he always played. You know, he didn't always put up the best numbers. He wasn't the ultimate winner, but the guy always played. Till this year, Dallas saw his value. They had no choice due to all the other circumstances to pay him.
And thank God Andy Dalton was able to win a few games, because I mean, imagine if the Cowboys were sitting there with the number 1 overall pick somehow, some way. I know it's going to be far-fetched, but imagine if that was to happen. Again, Dak would have bet on himself and lost.
And he would have got paid, just probably not by the Cowboys.
No, not by the Cowboys. I mean, it was a perfect storm of all these different situations that landed Dak to where he is now.
Or maybe, I don't know, it's a hypothetical. Maybe they would have traded that number 1 overall pick, got a king's ransom,
maybe,
and tried to sell their team on. We're closer to a win now with Dak than we would be with taking Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. We don't need to answer that question real quick because I know we're up against it with the break. Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie wants the team to build around the quarterback. Does this not seem like a recipe for a disaster when the owner gets involved?
It's always if you should always let football people make the football decisions. But I will say this, that I think they have something in Jalen Hurts. I'm curious to see what year 2 will bring.
I like Jalen Hurts too.
That's the only thing I can say about this. It's different than Dwayne Haskins.
I like Jalen Hurts, but it is a loaded quarterback draft. You have the 6th overall pick. If you like one of these quarterbacks, your owner saying build around Jalen Hurts, in theory, should not stop you from taking one of these guys if you think he's going to be a franchise quarterback. I come from the school of keep trying to get quarterbacks. And look, the Eagles seem like they're committed to their quarterback because their owner wants them to. That is not a good recipe for success. Mike Fisher, Sports Illustrated, joins us next to talk more Dak.